Hello everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new tutorial featuring a new Hero Art stamp set called Antique Rose. This beautiful floral is very stunningly illustrated, and I've already colored it a few times using some different colors of zig markers. And I'm going to show you how I did the coloring to get a really beautiful layered and detailed effect, also aided by the style of the stamp. I'm stamping that right now onto some watercolor paper. This is Canson XL. And I'm using some Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink to stamp this image onto that paper. I did stamp it a couple times to get a nice dark impression. And then I'm pulling out a couple of zig markers, and I also have a couple other watercolor markers from Do Crafts in here because I really like the colors that were in the antique palettes from Do Craft. So I'm going to start taking these colors and scribbling on areas of these colors, focusing the darker ones in the darker areas and then the lighter color in the middle portion of the petal or in any area where I thought it was going to be lighter. I'm taking a brush and I'm just quickly applying a little bit of water over that area to get the colors to blend. I'm not mixing them too much, just kind of laying color and water down. I can come back in and add additional darkening into areas that might have gotten a little bit too faded out, but I'm going to add additional layers, so I'm not going to really fuss too much if I have areas that I didn't like the depth of color, because I can come back in and add more layers on top of that to get a more detailed and dimensional effect. So I'm going to go ahead and watercolor all of these petals, coloring them all in like I showed you in the first petals, where I'm just adding color in the darker areas and then pulling in some color towards the center or areas where it's going to be lighter. I'm going to color the leaves in the same manner and putting down some different colors, not really focus too much on the shading for the leaves. I just want some variegated colors. Though I will add just a little bit of darker green towards the part of the leaves where it's closest to the stem. Now remember how I said I'm going to add more layers? Well, this is where I'm going to do that. Now that I've let this entire flower dry, when I went ahead and started coloring the leaves, this allowed the paper to dry and it makes it easier for me to layer on top of the color that I've already put down. A, it's not going to pill the paper as much because it's already dry, and B, it's also going to allow me to have a little bit more control and the colors are going to stay more vibrant because I'm not applying them down into wet paper. I'm doing the same thing with a Tombow marker. This is also very water reactive, just like zig markers. And I'm going to use this purpley color to add just a slight bit of really dark edges to this flower in the really darkest corners. As Kathy Rakusin likes to call it, it's the nooks and crannies. This also adds a little bit of variation to the color tone of the floral. Now that my flowers are colored and set aside to dry, I'm going to bring in this beautiful script from 49 and Market and stamp it down in a really light evening gray ink from Ulta New. I'll bring in my Fine-Tech watercolors and sprinkle on some splatters of metallic color just to add a little bit of interest to the background and also that beautiful metallic shine. Now I am creating two different cards with these florals, and they're going to be designed in pretty much the same way, although the orientation will be both vertical and horizontal on each of the two cards, and I will also have a slight variation to the layout, but the concepts are very much the same. So the florals, I popped up the backmost floral with one layer of foam tape, and then the frontmost floral will get 2 layers, and that's just going to give it a little bit more extra dimension and help it be more front and center, and the other one receding a little bit into the background. I also am making sure to layer these between this beautiful double stitch scallop frame from Memory Box. It adds a lot of really neat interest, and I did attach this down on a wonky angle just so it has a little bit more variation to the design. Now there are some great sentiments included in that Antique Rose stamp set, and they look like they're typed out in a typewriter, which is really fun. Now they are going to have some areas that aren't perfect. So you'll notice in the I and the L, some of those areas are purposely left that way to look like they were really typed out, which is really fun. So that is not messy embossing. That is what the stamp will look like. So just so you know, they are going to have that really cool, authentic typewriter effect. I'm popping those sentiments up after fussy cutting them out of the slate gray cardstock, and I had heat embossed them with white embossing powder. I love the look of fussy cut sentiments, so I just added those down with some foam tape. And then my final bit of embellishing to the cards was adding some moonshine sequins in and around the blossoms just for a little bit more sparkle and shine. I had loved how these florals turned out with that beautiful antique rose stamp set from Hero Arts. It's a brand new set along with a bunch of other new products that are included in the new release, which I have a link to down in the video description below, so you can find that there. I hope that it has inspired you to try out this fun layered watercoloring effect. It's really easy and really fun. It's just a matter of letting your paper dry if you want to get that really nice, vibrant, and detailed layering effect. If you enjoyed, here are 2 more videos you might like featuring some watercoloring techniques. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more inspiration, and thanks so much for stopping by and spending some time with me today. I will be back again very soon with more inspiration for you, and until then, have a great day. Bye!